On May 12th, Archangel Michael will mark you as protected or vulnerable. What you do decides. There are moments where heaven draws a line not in sand, but in spirit. A divine separation where no human eye can see it, yet every soul feels it. And May 12th is one of those moments. A sacred checkpoint hath been placed in your spiritual timeline. Archangel Michael, heaven's appointed guardian and warrior, has been assigned to observe, not from afar, but up close, with intense focus, with deliberate precision. He is not merely watching you, he is measuring you. Your words, your thoughts, your posture in the storm. Nothing escapes the eye of divine justice when timing is this holy. May 12th is not just a day. It is a decision point in heaven. A spiritual courtroom is being prepared, and you are the one being evaluated. This is not a punishment. It is an unveiling. The unseen will be seen. The hidden will be weighed. And the mark you receive on this day will not be carved by circumstance. It will be carved by choice. This is not the time to be casual with your soul. This is the moment where every delay, every betrayal, every test that was allowed to shape you will now reveal whether it refined you or ruined you. On that day, Archangel Michael will carry heaven's sword in one hand and heaven's seal in the other. The seal of the protected or the exposure of the vulnerable. This is not about status. This is not about popularity. This is not even about who likes you or who doesn't. This is about alignment. This is about whether your energy mirrors heaven's command or still clings to old chaos. It is about who you have become when no one was watching. Because May 12th is the day when everyone in the spirit realm watches. You are not just living through time. You are being moved through spiritual dimensions. Your actions are keys. Your silence is a sound. Your response in this season is your fingerprint in the heavens. Michael has been dispatched to ensure that justice prevails, not just for the world, but for you. And as May 12th draws near, the decisions you make, the peace you protect, the integrity you uphold, will all speak louder than any prayer you've ever whispered. What you do decides what you receive. What you carry decides how you are marked. And heaven is waiting for your next move. Archangel Michael says this to the realm of the awakened. The atmosphere has shifted, the countdown has started, and you, yes you, are standing at the edge of a moment that will echo for eternity. He does not come with empty hands. He carries with him a divine scroll, etched with the names of those heaven has watched, those who have been tested, those who have cried behind closed doors, and those who stood upright when the weight was enough to crush them. That scroll will be sealed on May 12th, and what you do between now and then will decide whether your name is written under protected or vulnerable. Time is no longer casual. Every hour is charged. Every decision is data. Every thought is testimony. And Michael, the commander of heavenly hosts, is moving through the atmosphere, marking the faithful, the disciplined, the brave, the ones who did not bow to bitterness, who did not retaliate with revenge, who did not crumble under pressure, but allowed pressure to forge purpose. And at the same time, he is watching those who are still playing both sides, still speaking light but entertaining shadows, still seeking validation in the wrong direction. For them, the line will be drawn not as favor, but as warning. This is a divine invocation. This is not a whisper from a distant star. This is a trumpet from the inner courts of heaven. This message has pierced the veil because your name was mentioned in the heavens. You are being pulled into focus. This is not coincidence. This is consequence. The energy you hold today, the clarity you claim, the boundaries you enforce, they will determine the spiritual label you carry for the next cycle of your life. Will you be hidden in divine protection, or exposed to unnecessary warfare? What you do decides. There are angelic forces that have already begun their assignment. Some are guarding your doors. Some are standing at your bedside. Some are intercepting messages meant to harm you before they arrive. But they are operating under conditional orders. Orders that shift depending on your alignment. This is not about being perfect. This is about being positioned. Heaven protects the position. And Michael is here not just to defend, but to divide, to separate wheat from chaff, clarity from confusion, loyalty from performance. You are not being overlooked. You are being scanned. And heaven is not delayed. Heaven is discerning. Let your prayer life rise. Let your decisions be clean. Let your heart not panic but posture itself in peace. The mark you receive will not be a random outcome. It will be a reflection of your spiritual discipline. And Archangel Michael is not coming to punish you. He's coming to reveal the truth that already lives in you. This is divine precision. This is heaven's order. This is the hour you were prepared for. You are not just surviving this test. You are standing before the throne. Your spirit is giving testimony. And May 12th is when the verdict is signed in light. Type "I am marked for divine protection" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 777 is now activated. There are whispers in rooms you've never walked into. Laughter shared over lies. Assumptions formed like arrows. And none of it is random. None of it is harmless. Because while you have been healing, they have been guessing. While you've been seeking peace, they've been framing a false picture. And now, at this very hour, those conversations are starting to shape perception. A perception that does not belong to you, yet attempts to wear your face. It's emotional theft. And heaven is watching how you respond to the violation. Archangel Michael leans close, not just to protect, but to witness. There's someone, perhaps even someone you trusted, who has misunderstood your silence. They mistaken your restraint for weakness, your grace for guilt. They don't know what you survived. They don't know the tears you've buried beneath your smile. They only see a part, and they've turned that fragment into a full accusation. He's not who he pretends to be. She's doing this for attention. Something about them doesn't feel right. Words like that are being spoken right now by someone who claims to know your heart, but doesn't even know your story. And yet, this is the design of the test. This is the furnace where your emotional response is forged. Will you defend yourself too quickly, thereby stepping out of heaven's shield? Or will you let silence become your sword, letting heaven record the insult? Because there's a trick here. The enemy does not want to destroy you directly. No, that would be too obvious. He wants to lure you into your own undoing by using false stories to provoke a real reaction. A reaction that costs you divine alignment just days before the seal is placed. Do you see it now? This isn't just gossip, it's strategy. A spiritual setup designed to push you out of position right before your promotion. And here's the most piercing part. The person doing this doesn't even realize they've become a puppet. They think it's just frustration or concern or clearing the air. But in the spirit realm, their words are functioning as daggers, small attacks to puncture your peace. They may even say your name while smiling. But in the silence behind the scenes, their tone is different. Their intentions have shifted, and they are trying to drag others into their distortion. A conversation has begun, and even now, it's gaining traction. But listen closely. Archangel Michael stands nearby with his sword drawn. He will not allow the lie to take root if you remain still, faithful, and wise. Because what they've uncovered is only a fragment, a sliver of truth wrapped in confusion, a piece of your past pulled out of context to stain your present. And that fragment, when held by the wrong person, becomes a weapon, not just against your image, but against your destiny. But let me tell you something powerful. The enemy may have a fragment, but heaven holds the full story. Your entire journey is documented in the divine record. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is overlooked. And heaven always rules in favor of those who remain faithful under fire. You are not here to correct every whisper. You are not called to confront every critic. Some storms aren't meant to be rebuked. They are meant to be endured. And every time you choose peace, every time you bite your tongue, every time you stay silent while misrepresented, you rise. Not in public, but in spirit. You rise in the atmosphere. And on May 12th, the mark placed upon you will reflect not what they said, but how you responded. Because the real evaluation isn't about their lies, it's about your loyalty to truth. So don't panic when you feel misunderstood. Don't tremble when you hear your name spoken by unfamiliar lips. The test is not about what they say. It's about what you will say in return. Let heaven take the case. Let Archangel Michael watch you walk through this shadow with dignity. Because your silence is not a retreat. It's a roar only heaven can hear. And trust me, heaven is listening. Type "my silence is a weapon" in the comments if this is for you. Lesson code 555 is now activated. You think this is about a misunderstanding. You think this is about hurt feelings, confused friends, or someone being offended by your growth. But Archangel Michael is sounding the alarm. This is not personal. This is spiritual. This isn't about what you said or didn't say. It's about who you are, and more importantly, who you are becoming. Because right now, as May 12th approaches, the invisible realm is reacting, not to your past, but to your potential. The shadows sense it. The spirits not aligned with light feel it. There's a divine acceleration around you, and those who operate in lower vibrations, whether they know it or not, are being provoked by it. Not because you harmed them, not because you did anything wrong, but because your elevation exposes their stagnation. Your glow irritates their shadows, and your silence feels like judgment to those who still live in noise. This is spiritual warfare disguised as petty offense. It's demonic agitation masked as friendship tension. And it's not just happening in the physical. Even in the spiritual dimension, the enemy is lobbying against your name. Whispers are sent like smoke signals. Old agreements from your past are trying to reattach to your present. Spiritual monitors, watchers, assigned by the adversary have taken note of your posture. You've pulled back. You've gone quiet. You've refused to react. And because of that, they're panicking. Why? Because when a chosen one stops explaining, stops defending, and just watches, heaven begins to move. You are under divine observation, not just from Archangel Michael, but from legions of angels tasked with protecting, pruning, and promoting you. And at this stage in your journey, conflict no longer shows up as blatant attack. No, it's subtle now. It wears the face of someone you trust. It sounds like an innocent comment. It looks like a moment of miscommunication. But don't be fooled. This is a targeting, not of your reputation, of your energy. Because if the enemy can pull you out of divine frequency, he can delay what was already scheduled for you on May 12th. That's why it feels heavier than it should. That's why you can't shake the unease. Because this isn't surface level. This is warfare wrapped in familiar skin. You're not just being challenged. You're being tested. Heaven wants to know, will you protect your peace when provoked? Will you guard your heart when baited into battle? Will you carry the mantle of grace when your name is in mouths that haven't earned the right to speak it? This is what separates the called from the chosen. This is what forges spiritual authority. It's not in shouting prayers or posting affirmations. It's in walking with unwavering integrity when it would be easier to clap back. It's in surrendering the fight, not from fear, but from faith. Because when you release the need to defend yourself, you allow God to step in as your defender. And when God defends, no lie stands. No slander stakes. No shadow survives. So don't get caught up in surface-level reactions. Don't make the mistake of aggressing what heaven already plans to reverse. Your enemies are not just people. They are energies, old identities, and healed patterns. And they are desperate for you to validate them one more time. But if you want to be marked protected on May 12th, you must walk in the truth that you are already sealed in heaven's favor. Archangel Michael isn't just watching your steps, he's guarding your atmosphere. Every word you don't speak is recorded as wisdom. Every insult you absorb without retaliation is logged as strength. And every time you choose faith over frustration, you rise into the version of you that the enemy can't touch. You are not in a human battle. You are a divine soul passing through hostile territory. And your stillness is warfare. Your restraint is spiritual dominance. The louder they get, the quieter you must become. Because the mark you carry is formed in silence. And when May 12th comes, those marked by heaven will not need to defend themselves. They'll simply walk in divine protection while others wonder how they made it through untouched. Type this as spiritual, not personal if this resonates. Blessing code 313 is now activated. Archangel Michael does not issue warnings without reason. If heaven speaks, it is because something is already moving beneath the surface, something the human eye cannot yet perceive. And in this very hour, heaven is sending you this word not to create fear, but to prepare you. Because the enemy is plotting a move, and it will come before May 12th. Not next month. Not next season. Within days. This is not a vague shift. This is a coordinated disturbance. A message will come. A phone call. A DM. A carefully timed coincidence that is designed to provoke something out of you. Emotional response. A defense. A slip. Anything that will pull you out of alignment before the divine seal is placed. Listen carefully. Someone is watching your restraint, and it's unsettling them. They were counting on your reaction. They were hoping you'd lash out, call back, explain yourself, or engage in one more back and forth that would tarnish your divine posture. But your silence is louder than they expected. And now, they're getting desperate. Desperation breeds strategy. And their next move will not be random. It will be disguised. It may come as a concerned friend asking, "Hey, I just wanted to make sure you're okay. I heard something." It may arrive as a baited conversation with subtle accusations. People are saying things. Maybe you should clear the air. It may even appear as a fake apology just to open the door to chaos. Let's talk. I think we misunderstood each other. Do not be deceived. These are not peace offerings. These are spiritual landmines dressed in emotional vocabulary. And the moment you step onto one, the energy you've been protecting becomes contaminated. Archangel Michael is not just watching you. He's guarding the timing of your decisions. Heaven is watching your emotional discipline, your spiritual discernment, Because your next move is not just a personal choice, it is a prophetic trigger. And once triggered, it activates either one of two paths. You are marked protected or vulnerable. Let this pierce you. If you answer that text too quickly, if you respond to that jab just to prove a point, if you try to clear your name when heaven already knows the truth, you will shift from spiritual alignment into human conflict. And human conflict drags you out of divine covering. Don't fight on a level beneath your calling. You are not here to win an argument. You are here to protect your anointing. And this is what the enemy fears most: your stillness, your silence, your refusal to be lured. Because when a chosen one stays in position while being provoked, heaven dispatches reinforcement. Angels begin to encamp. Shields are raised. And the very attack meant to expose you becomes the event that elevates you. But there is a danger, a narrow window, because the pressure is going to intensify. You may feel misunderstood, misquoted, or falsely labeled. You may even feel like God is being too quiet about it. But the silence of heaven is not absence, it is observation. Heaven is watching what you will do with this weight. And every second you hold your ground, Michael sharpens his sword. Every second you stay in truth, heaven builds a hedge. The next 72 hours are not casual. They are sacred. A shift will be offered to you, a distraction, a deception, or a doorway. Only one leads to blessing. Only one keeps you covered. The others, they drag you into unnecessary warfare, the kind that drains your energy and delays your mark. You are in a moment of divine tension, and those who endure without retaliating will pass the test. On May 12th, Archangel Michael is not marking those who explained it well. He's marking those who endured well, those who could have defended themselves, but let heaven do it instead, those who could have clapped back, but chose consecration. Because restraint is not weakness. It's the language of the spiritually mature. Type I choose discernment if you receive this warning. Blessing code 828 is now activated. Before May 12th arrives, before Archangel Michael lifts his hand to mark the chosen, there must be a shift, not in the world around you, but within you. This is not about preparing for battle with noise. This is not about suiting up for confrontation. This is about stepping into a realm of divine stillness that few ever master. Because heaven has made it clear, the mark of protection will fall not on the loud, not on the defensive, not on the impulsive, but on the disciplined, the quiet, the ones whose silence shakes the atmosphere more than shouts ever could. You are in a sacred moment, and sacred moments demand sacred posture. You cannot carry old habits into a moment this holy. You cannot afford to respond the way you once did because you are not who you once were. Your growth has reached a checkpoint, and now the atmosphere is watching to see, will your actions reflect your anointing? Will your choices be proof of your transformation? This is the protective guidance heaven is now issuing to your soul. First, stay grounded. Grounded means anchored in truth, not in emotions, not in ego. Truth. It means your identity is not up for negotiation. You no longer need to convince anyone of who you are. If they can't see it, let them sit in their blindness. If they twist your silence, let them suffocate in assumption. You are not called to be understood. You are called to be obedient. And obedience right now means staying rooted in divine reality. You are already covered. But coverage only remains where alignment exists. Second, do not explain yourself. This is the trap the enemy is hoping you'll fall into. That you'll try to clear the air, fix the misunderstanding, or make peace with someone who doesn't even operate in truth. Let this be loud and clear. You don't need to explain what God is protecting. You don't need to defend what heaven has already sealed. Your silence is not void. It is loaded with power. Power that confuses your enemies and confirms your anointing. When you explain yourself, you invite people into rooms they were never authorized to enter. And in doing so, you forfeit the mystery God placed around your life as a shield. Third, let your stillness be your strength. Stillness is not passivity. Stillness is not inaction. Stillness is intention, a chosen calm that says, I know who fights for me. It's the posture of royalty. Do kings explain themselves to critics in the courtyard? Do queens rush to every whisper in the hallway? They sit. They remain. They let their presidents answer questions they might have never speak. This is your time to rule your own spirit, and heaven rewards rulers. And while you remain still, heaven moves. Angels are being dispatched to intercept slander. Archangel Michael is sharpening swords to cut through confusion. Divine reversal is in motion, but only for the still. If you move ahead of heaven, you walk alone. But if you remain in stillness, you will see what Psalm 91 promised. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. This is not poetry. This is prophecy. Your stillness invokes divine defense. Now listen closely, because this is vital. Every time you resist the urge to prove your point, you give permission for heaven to prove your position. Every time you hold your peace, heaven prepares your promotion. And May 12th will be the day where everything you held back is returned to you in power. Because heaven doesn't ignore restraint. Heaven honors it. Your silence is currency. Your stillness is strategy. And your peace is the proof that you trust God more than gossip. So stay grounded. Say nothing unnecessary. And if you feel overwhelmed, do this. Place your hand over your heart. Close your eyes. And whisper, I am covered. I am chosen. I am not reacting, because heaven is responding. Let that be your rhythm. Let that be your weapon. This is how you are marked protected. Not with noise, not with battle, but with spiritual posture that silences every assignment sent to derail you. My stillness invites heaven's protection in the comments. Lesson code 944 is now activated. They thought they had you figured out. They mistook your stillness for surrender. They misinterpreted your lack of response as weakness. But what they failed to understand was this. You were never retreating. You were realigning. You weren't breaking down. You were being built from within. And now, as the weight of May 12th draws closer, something in the spirit has shifted. The same silence that confused your enemies is the silence that heaven used to crown you. Let this resonate. You are no longer who they thought you were. You're no longer the one who doubts her voice, who seeks approval, who second-guesses destiny. There has been a quiet transformation, one no gossip could track, one no lie could prevent, one no betrayal could reverse. A storm didn't destroy you. It refined you. It clarified what was blurry, and burned away the version of you they thought they could play with. You are emerging, not as a victim but as a vessel, not as wounded but as a warrior, not as broken but as branded by heaven's authority. You are rising into the divine version of yourself that intimidation couldn't block, that confusion couldn't drown, that delay couldn't hold back any longer. And now, finally, your energy speaks before you do. Your presence corrects narratives before you say a word. Because your frequency has changed. You no longer walk with fear in your footsteps. You walk with a spiritual confidence that says, I've been through too much not to rise. And it is this version of you that Archangel Michael is ready to mark. Not the one who begged for closure, not the one who doubted their worth, but the one who chose silence over scandal, faith over frustration, grace over gossip. Heaven doesn't anoint the reactive, he anoints the reformed. Those who let the fire do its work, those who emerged from trial with purity instead of poison. And that's you. Now the tables turn. Those who questioned your character will now have to watch your elevation. Those who whispered behind your back will have to witness what God places in your hands. And make no mistake, this rise isn't for revenge. It's for revelation. So that others may look and say, surely, the hand of God was on their life. Because nothing else explains how you survived that kind of betrayal with that kind of grace. Nothing else explains how your eyes still shine with peace, even after walking through that storm. You are the storm now, but not the one that destroys. You're the storm that shifts atmospheres. Your presence unsettles darkness. Your boundaries offend those who are feeding on your insecurities. But it no longer matters, because you've remembered who you are. You've remembered who walks with you, and that memory carries power. You don't need revenge. Elevation is enough. You don't need to address what they said. Your glow is louder than their gossip. You don't need to revisit old wounds. You're too busy wearing the crown those wounds prepared you for. Let this be your declaration. I am not who they thought I was. I am who God said I am. Let it rise from your spirit. Let it echo in the atmosphere. Because this declaration is not just poetic, it's prophetic. It is a sword. And with every word you affirm, you slice through every identity they tried to force on you. This is your shift. This is your return to power. And on May 12th, when Archangel Michael moves through the earth to place the divine mark, your name will not be in question. It will be carved in bold, protected. Because you didn't fight back. You grew. You didn't retaliate. You rose. You didn't speak your pain. You embodied your purpose. Now you are a force. Now you are the proof. Now you are the prophecy fulfilled. Type I am rising in power and purpose in the comments. Blessing code 117 is now activated. The final stretch has arrived. What began as confusion is ending in clarity. What started as betrayal is becoming a platform. And what once felt like punishment was actually preparation. Because on May 12th, heaven will finalize what it started. The scroll that Archangel Michael carries will no longer remain open. The names marked for divine protection will be sealed. And your journey, every silent tear, every unfair whisper, every test you endured without retaliation, will speak louder than any defense you could have offered. You didn't just survive spiritual warfare. You were refined by it. While others cracked under the pressure, you were being carved into purpose. And that carving was not invisible. It echoed in the heavens. It sent a signal into the spiritual realm. And heaven responded with strategy. Protect them. Strengthen them. Position them. Now, the divine courtroom is reaching its final hour. And you will not walk away with Scotland, you will walk away with a Zan. A supernatural label placed by the hand of Archangel Michael himself. A declaration in the realm of the spirit. This one is sealed. This one is protected. This one passed the test. But that's not all. May 12th is not just a day of judgment. It is a day of release. You are stepping into a sequence of restoration that your enemies won't be able to comprehend. People will look at you and wonder, how did they get here so fast? What happened that changed everything? And the answer will be simple. Obedience birthed favor. Stillness unlocked movement. Your silence spoke heaven's language, and heaven answered. Expect resolution. Expect reversal. Expect people who once joined in slander to come forward in quiet repentance. Someone is going to bring back what was taken, not because you demanded it, but because conviction is being released like a flood. People are waking up in dreams with your face. They are being confronted by the Spirit. Their words are echoing back to them in rooms they thought were safe. Because heaven has declared, you will not be defamed. You will be elevated. Your name will rise without you needing to campaign for it. Your influence will expand without you needing to prove a thing. Because what you allowed to die in silence, your ego, your need to be right, your impulse to retaliate, has now given birth to something eternal, authority. Not man-given, not crowd-given, ever-given. And here is what you must know. This blessing isn't just for you. It's generational. The protection that's being placed over you on May 12th will ripple through your bloodline. Your children will benefit from your discipline. Doors will open for them that you fought to keep unblocked. Curses are being broken in silence. Cycles are being shattered through posture. And future victories are being written by the way you've endured this season. So don't underestimate what's happening right now. The resistance wasn't random. A dead who wanted bodyhood. It was spiritual alignment in disguise. The fire you walked through, it burned away everything that couldn't carry you into your next. You are lighter now. You are sharper now. You are not walking into May 12th the same way you entered this season. When Michael releases the seal, there will be two types of people, those marked protected, who stood with integrity through confusion, and those left exposed, who acted in impulse and never discerned the hour. You already know which one you are. You feel it in your soul. The shift has already happened, and now the manifestation is about to begin. Favor will follow. Peace will settle. Restoration will arrive in ways that will silence even your loudest critics. Because this is not just another spiritual moment. This is your prophetic turning point. You have been found faithful. You have been marked worthy. And now, you rise. Type I receive my heavenly seal in the comments. Blessing code 1212 is now activated. You've heard the warnings. You felt the spiritual tension building around May 12th. You've witnessed the signs, sensed the urgency, and stood in the stillness when your flesh wanted to fight. Now comes the moment where heaven looks for agreement. Not verbal agreement alone, spiritual alignment. Because in every prophetic moment, a divine response is required. And Archangel Michael is watching, waiting to see who will rise not just in silence, but in activation. This is not the time to be passive. You're not a bystander in this story. You are not just a witness to prophecy. You are the subject of it. Everything that has happened to you, everything that's been spoken over you, every conversation, every disappointment, every test, has led you here. Now is the time to engage with what heaven has ordained. Because faith without movement is stagnant, and power without obedience is forfeited. Heaven has already extended the opportunity. But what will you do with it? You must step into agreement, not with emotion, but with intention. Because agreement is spiritual currency. He authorizes the angels to act. He releases the seal from thought into form. It turns a prophetic word into a manifested reality. Say this out loud. Even now, I align with the will of heaven. I choose to be marked protected. I silence the voice of fear, and I step into divine covering. Don't just read that. speak it. Because your voice is a tool, and when used in alignment with heaven, it becomes a weapon. Not a weapon to hurt others, but a weapon that cuts through every lingering tie to confusion, doubt, and distraction. Now type it. Yes, in the comments. Not for show, not for performance, but because typing it is an act of public spiritual agreement. The moment you declare what God is doing aloud or in print, you invite all of heaven to partner with your atmosphere. Your angels stand at attention. Your energy aligns. Your timeline shifts. Type I receive my heavenly seal if you agree with this prophetic word. You think that's silly? Then you've missed the mystery of heaven. God honors obedience in small things, so he can trust you with large things. If you can't speak your faith in public, how will you stand when silence becomes dangerous? This is more than text. This is transfer. From heaven's intention to your manifestation. From divine observation to angelic protection. When you speak, you signal to the atmosphere, I'm ready. I accept. I align. You let heaven know you're not watching prophecy pass you by. You're welcoming it. You're walking in it. You're responding like someone who's ready to carry the weight of elevation. And don't stop at one word. Let it become a pattern. Let your day be laced with declarations like, I am hidden under divine wings. Though slander can stick to my name. I trust the silence. I trust the marking. Speak it while cooking. Speak it while driving. Speak it under your breath if you must, because words build worlds. And the world you build now must be strong enough to carry the next season God is releasing over you. Also, do something physical to reflect your spiritual agreement. Clean your space. Clear your calendar. Write a letter you'll never send. Delete a number. Create order. Because heaven doesn't move in chaos. Heaven responds to intentionality. And when you begin to move differently, angels begin to move rapidly. Archangel Michael isn't just looking for spiritual awareness. He's looking for spiritual participation. Heaven doesn't reward those who just listen. It crowns those who respond. So respond now. Let the enemy see that even after the rumors, even after the delays, even after the betrayals, you're still aligned, still chosen, still protected, still ready to be marked. This is your call to action. The scroll is open. The marking is near. And your voice still has power in this prophecy. Use it. Type I receive my heavenly seal, and watch how fast heaven moves. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. This is your final moment in this prophetic message. And it is not a farewell, it is a declaration. One that will resound not only in your ears, but in the spiritual atmosphere that has been watching your life unfold in quiet power. Because you are not who you were when this began. You are no longer wrestling with questions like, why did they do that? Why didn't they defend me? Why am I going through this? You grown. You shifted. And you awakened. Now listen closely. You are not a victim of their misunderstanding. You are the fulfillment of divine promise. I did see it coming. Not because you were hiding, but because your transformation was sacred. It was never meant to be visible until heaven had sealed it. And now, the time has come. On May 12th, Archangel Michael will make the final sweep. He is not looking for loud voices. He is not looking for broken hearts. He is looking for the still ones, the silent ones, the strong ones, those who walked through fire and didn't lose their frequency, those who carried peace as their defense, those who chose sacred elevation over emotional explosion. and you are among them. This is not flattery. This is truth. And truth doesn't need applause. It just needs agreement. And you've shown that you agree with heaven's pace. You've shown that you are willing to walk away rather than strike back. You've shown that spiritual discipline is your priority, not temporary vindication. Let this settle in your soul. You have already been seen. You have already been chosen. You have already been marked in the Spirit. And on May 12th will bring the evidence of what was already sealed in secret. They may still talk. Let them. They may still doubt. That's not your burden. You are rising. Not because you forced your way through, but because you passed the test when nobody was clapping. Because you endured the fire when nobody was looking. Because you kept your integrity when it was easier to burn it down. This final affirmation is not a gentle ending. It is a sword of truth that slices through every lie that still lingers in your mind. You are not weak. You are wise. You are not afraid. You are aligned. You are not behind. You are exactly where heaven needs you to be. And this is the prophetic summary of your season. You didn't fold. You didn't fight dirty. You didn't fall apart. You let God watch. You let heaven work. You let your silence carry weight. And now, the divine verdict is being written, not in ink but in light. You are light in human form. You are the quiet storm that cleared the air. You are the one the enemy couldn't trap. And even now, the angels assigned to your destiny are rejoicing. Because you've become the version of yourself that can finally carry what heaven has been holding for you. There is no need to fear what's next. There is no need to look back. You've crossed the invisible line. Now all that's left is fulfillment. So breathe. Stand tall. Lift your spirit. You are not walking into May 12th hoping for mercy. You're walking in marked by power, marked by promise, marked by the seal of divine protection. Let them whisper. Let them watch. You rise. And every realm, seen and unseen, will know it. Type I am the fulfillment, not the victim in the comments if you're ready to carry this revelation into May 12th and beyond. Final blessing code 7777 is now released.